In a year of movie releases that often looks about as appetizing as a 7th grade lunch menu, in a world in which movies are made while meeting DEI quotas and incorporating fan-favorite absurdist feminist ideologies that often defy laws of basic biology, the release of Dune Part 2 offers, well, a breath of fresh air, a knife through all the bullshit, and a reminder of the true meaning of Christmas. Sorry, different video. A reminder of what actually makes a movie good. Prior to seeing Dune, my conception of it was but an obscure science fiction movie that never quite reached the popularity of Star Wars, although it clearly had an influence on it and several other science fiction stories. I had neither read the book, nor had any significant knowledge of the story going into the movie. When I saw it in IMAX at the end of 2021, I was legitimately captivated. I even remember the specific moment I was hooked, and that was the moment that Paul was put to the test of the Gom Jabbar. In my view, Dune asserted itself in that scene as a cinematic force through all of the facets that make a movie good. The intrigue and the pace gripped me and never let go. And Dune provided my favorite movie-going experience by far over the last probably 3 years. It even inspired me to buy the first 2 books of the series, which I just actually completed prior to seeing the second movie. And while Dune Part 2 achieves top-notch technical feats and avoids any partisan political messaging or ideology, it's not as compelling as its predecessor. The directing, cinematography, score, special effects, you name it, they were all fantastic. But too many aspects of the story were left explored at a shallow level, which sort of left me uninvested in the third act. No single moment really sunk its hooks into me to pull me along for the ride. Because instead of developing one of its plot points, the story goes off and casts other lines in which it attends. Not sure why I felt compelled to keep the fishing analogy going, but here we are. See, the first movie focused on the plot against the Atreides. Denis Villeneuve built the world of Arrakis amongst the chaos of that betrayal and developed Paul's relationship with his mother as he accepted the call to adventure on the hero's journey. These plot points were explored at such a depth that the audience was allowed to become invested in the story, which was underscored by incredibly high stakes. Paul's family and house faced the threat of being completely wiped out by the Harkonnens, who were attempting to take control of Arrakis. Now, Part 2 attempts to bring many things into focus. Paul's lack of control of the swelling fanaticism amongst the Southern fundamentalists, Paul and Shawnee's relationship, the shifting strategies of the Harkonnens, Paul's development as a Fremen, Bene Gesserit manipulations of power, and Lady Jessica's role as the Reverend Mother on Arrakis, just to name a few. And I think the movie tries to balance all of these things at the expense of focusing on just 2 or 3 of them. One casualty to this approach, I felt, is the effect, or lack thereof, of the destruction of Siege Tabor. Personally, it carried little to no weight because we hardly spend any time there. Only one scene establishes the sanctity of that location, yet it felt like its destruction was supposed to have an emotional impact on us. And if the Fremen losing one of their gathering places, one of their homes, isn't supposed to have an emotional impact on us, then exactly what impact is it supposed to have? In fact, with a number of events influencing the plot, I think you could make a perfectly good case that you could make the first book into 3 movies. Compared to Dune, I thought the acting wasn't as good either. Dave Bautista literally just screams at people, and Christopher Walken practically plays himself. At one point, Christopher Walken as the Emperor addresses Baron Harkonnen in a way only Christopher Walken can, and he just goes, "Baron," and I'm like, I literally almost laughed in the theater when that happened, and it was supposed to be a rather serious scene. But damn it, Christopher frickin' Walken with his Baron. It might have been the funniest thing in the whole movie. Anywho, the characters of Rabban and Emperor Shaddam were not compelling to me. Another choice I didn't agree with was the ending with Shawnee going away on the sandworm. That scene indicates to me that the third movie is going to be about Shawnee and Paul somehow reconciling their relationship. Mind you, Paul and Shawnee do have their differences in the second book, but it's for a different reason and by no means the main thread of the story. I thought it would have been much more intriguing, effective, and appropriate to end the second movie with the first scene of the second book, which certainly would have had a lot of people speculating and excited for Part 3, which appears is on the way. Overall, I'd give Dune Part 2 about a 7 out of 10. On IMDb, its rating has it just behind The Fellowship of the Ring, which is way too high in my opinion. And like I said, the movie is technically well made, but it's just not as compelling as the first due to how many story elements they're trying to balance at once. Our eyes are probably so sore from watching all the bullshit over the last 5 to 10 years that when we see a good 7, we elevate it to like a freaking all-time 9. But what do you expect? I mean, good movies are more scarce now than ever because Hollywood isn't seeking to make good movies. It seeks to make movies that achieve equity. As much as they'd like to believe that equity equates to good, it simply isn't the case. As long as they make equity their number one priority, then merit will just fall to the wayside. But those are my thoughts for Dune Part 2. If you enjoy this video, please hit the like button and comment down below. If you liked the movie, let me know. Let me know what your rating was, if you thought that it was better than the first movie or worse than the first movie. And as always, please subscribe to the channel for more content. But until the next time, thanks for watching.